Okay. Good morning. Happy Saturday. I'm talking and waiting for this to go live. Hi guys. It looks like it's going live. I'm excited. Okay. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the energy forecast for the month of February. As we dive into this, please say hello. Please let me know if you're here. Please feel free to interact. And we're going to just dive through some of the themes that are coming up for the month of February as I'm feeling them. And then utilizing some of these energies to leverage them in our business and in our life. So if we've been maybe not being as decisive as we want to be, or perhaps there are some bigger decisions on the horizon, we can really land into what this month has in store for us and why we might be feeling this extra pull to, connect or use new resources or trust our intuition just that much more. So I have in front of me all my notes that I get up usually every morning and journal. But when I do these forecasts, I get up and I sit with the energy and I just look at some of the patterning, some of the way that the month lays out, some of the information that wants to jump out on the page for me. And as I do this, there's a couple themes that kept coming up this month. One, obviously, when we add the month with the year, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4, we get a 10. And that brings us into a number between 2 and 1 and 9, which is a 1. And it's all about new beginnings. What's interesting about this month particular is, this year is going to be huge and deep transformation. It's going to move fast. It's going to be very abundant if we meet ourselves in the place to allow that abundance to be received. And this month kind of kicks that off. So in January, we have been feeling that energy of the 9. You might not have been able to wait for the month to be over. It could have been quite challenging. There could be quite a few things that were coming up that could no longer not be looked at. Things in relationship, things in the way that you communicate, things in your own health, things in your business or your money beliefs that are really ready to move out of the way. And we can only do so by letting them rise up and then choosing to graduate, choosing to move through. Hi, good morning. So when I think of that as we begin into this next month, we've kind of cleared the way for what's going to be next the rest of the year. Sometimes we've experienced even changes in friendship or in partnerships, things that were already known subconsciously or feeling the pull that something had to give. But now, maybe through this month and the way that it unfolded in January, we were able to say, I'm going to go ahead and let that go with so much love. And if it's meant for me, it'll come back around. And if not, then we had these beautiful moments and I learned and I gifted and gave so much to and from this relationship. So as we land into this month, of course, being the month of love, February, the 2 is really prevalent. There are 3 2s when I look at the month and the year in position, and along with a 4. So a lot of 2 energy, a lot of intuition, a lot of awakening, birthing, a lot of these new beginnings that want to become connection, that want to move into ways of partnership, to want to move into the way we connect and communicate with others, and to accept the resources that are coming through, to make space from having to know how it all unfolds, to meeting the universe in the desire and being willing to pivot and watch it unfold in ways that we hadn't ever thought was possible before. And the invitation to think back in time to a moment when you have met yourself there. The one I think of prevalently is um, motherhood. Like, you knew you were going to have a baby, you've decided to do it, you had no idea how it was going to go. And no matter how many books you read, no matter how many preparations you did, there was just the flow of what is in that moment. And that's how this feels with our business, with our health, with the decisions that we may have not been fully in on that are requiring us to set that foundation for what we want the rest of the year. So we're creating that stability. We're reassessing relationships. We're focusing on those dharmic partnerships, those soul connections, and those sacred relationships. What is it like to be in sacred, right relationship with ourselves and with others? So maybe you're further along in your personal and spiritual journey than your spouse or some of your friends. Are you going to compromise that growth now or stay the course? And recognize that they may too be going through a brand new awakening. And so, even though you're further along, it doesn't mean your partner is going to fully understand exactly where you are with the language that you're using and all things, but that they're on their own journey, and to meet them in that space of new ways to communicate, new conversations to unfold, and get curious. There's so much curiosity and intention and planning that wants to go into this month with that one energy. Planning to be inspired, right? Not expecting to be inspired, but moving forward in ways that align with you, align with the relationships that you want, align with the conversations that you want, align with your own self and the places that you can step up into your dream just a bit more, step up beyond the limiting beliefs, step into this life that you're wanting to create, and know that it's here for you. If you want it, it wants you. The gap between it is the belief that you can have it. And so this whole month is really inviting us into these deeper layers of transformation, to allow, to nurture, to pause, to breathe into that pause just for a moment. When you think you can't do anymore or you're so overwhelmed, it's inviting you into a pause and just come back to where you can bring yourself back in your power and make new decisions that align you with new habits, new behaviors, new ways of communicating, new responses and reactions that better serve how you want to experience life, not being at the whim of it. And so it's a parenting energy to look after ourselves and to not exclude ourselves from the participation in these relationships that we're wanting so beautifully to unfold in the love and the connection and the desire and the passion, right? We get to begin to create that in our own lives and be the beacon for what ripples through from that moment on. So 2024 as a year of deep transformation is one of the first themes, and we're really kicking it off now into this year. The last few months, we've been moving things out, moving things aside. I know personally, there have just been places where I feel like I'm done. I'm done with my own story, my own excuses. I'm finding a new way. I'm not giving up on me. I'm in it to win it. I'm all in. And that may look different than anything I've ever experienced before. And how can I show up and step in when I'm maybe a little more nervous or I haven't done something before? This is the month where you start to realize you can do the things you didn't think you could do before. But it's going to take a willingness and a devotion and an opportunity for you to open to when we let go of how we're trying to control it happening and unfolding, right? So there's a detachment that wants to happen in the space. And so as we kick off the first 11 days of this month, we're in the spades, and the spades are inviting us to face the truth of what was so we can begin to create new truth, rewrite our story, be the editor, director, and writer of what we want next. The past no longer matters. It's played a role to get you where you are here, but we do not have to stay attached to the way things were in the past. I can tell you in my own personal relationship, we're growing. We're constantly learning to communicate in a new way after 30 years, to not assume the other person knows what the other one wants or thinks, and to say the words, and then to expand in this is how I'm feeling, and to really open those spaces between where we thought you knew or it was just that way because we were married, and really expand it into new conversation, which really expands the consciousness around it. And so I feel like we're in brand new territory. The kids have been raised, the kids are grown. I've got one that's moved out, one on the way to move out, and it's us left. So, who are we individually in right relationship, and who are we together as we come together in this sacred relationship? And it is not going to be what we knew before. And I find that that's been showing up in partnership and business and opportunities to collaborate, in resources that have been landing for me to hit that next level growth, and for me to say yes in those investments that are going to take me to that next highest experience of myself. This is the invitation to a new version of you that's ready to emerge. It's not going wait to emerge. It's ready. And if you're resisting yourself or you're compromising those aspects of you from growing into it further, then you're feeling the hurt, the angst, and the stress of that. It's becoming a very overthinking, confused, attached to the past, codependent kind of energy, the need, right? And the very subtleness in the toxicity of needing somebody to approve of you, needing yourself to be externally validated versus knowing you are that wealth, that beauty, that health, that expression of you that doesn't require you to do anything else, just requires you to be more of you. And so February is going to find you being able to take next steps forward a lot more easily. And the flow of the energy will be like guiding you, right? Guiding you downstream into that flow where you're not feeling like you're scrambling and going upstream so hard. You're going to find that you can apply the wisdom from what you shed and purged in January, December, and it's allowing you to land into something new. So there's a very rebirth energy, a very new beginnings, new ideas, new foundations, new ways to experience yourself, new commitments, new habits that want to come forth and be acted upon this month. Hello, Sharon Durant. Hi, Rosalie. Thank you for being here. So the other theme that I was picking up on was we spoke a little bit the awakening, the awakening into that next level of conscious awareness of our spiritual connection. And I really feel like it's our higher self calling us higher, calling us inward. Where we're going to experience that differently depending on who we are. Are we someone who's been on a spiritual journey for a while and are welcoming that observation in for our life and we're willingness to take responsibility and see what's for us in it? Or are we just starting off and maybe facing like everything's happening to me right now and not understanding all those things that are going on and maybe looking for some guidance and mentorship and what the heck is even happening, and my intuition is opening, I'm seeing and hearing things I don't normally experience and I don't understand. And I remember being in that space. I wanted the answers and I also wanted the mysticism, but it also was a little frightening. And so depending on who you are, you might be feeling like you're over it. These new patterns have been resurfacing for you to look at, to open yourself, your heart even more, to know that you're held with so much love that you don't have to figure it out. Your guides, your higher self is here to help you. And applying those lessons that you've learned and realizing that transformation takes time. So as we move from the 1st through the 11th in the spades, and we start going in the 12th through the 24th into the diamonds, the diamonds say, take that inner wisdom that you experienced through those first week and a half of the month, and really start to apply it into your physical experience now. And so the physical experience is really going to be asking you to take a look at those areas that you've been talking about, desiring and really knowing that you can no longer keep going the way that you've been going. So this is going to be a very reshaping energy, reshaping your personal life, diving into coming back to nurturing and caring for you. So the habits, the relationships, the behaviors, literally reshaping who you are and how you operate in the world as you travel through the 12th and the 24th specifically, to no longer pretend that you can't see what wants to be shifted. So I can give you a personal example of that one for me as well. You know, every year I'm getting a little bit older and my body doesn't respond to things like it used to 10, even 5 years ago. And there's been many changes. And so just when you get your hormones level, they go sideways again, or maybe your adrenals kaput, or maybe the extra pressure of life and the ebbs and flows of life put additional stress on the body. Well, the body's going to respond in a way. And we have this opportunity to love ourselves through that response in a space where maybe we were beating ourselves up before or looking for all the things that were wrong, whether you've gained a little weight or you weren't as fit, or maybe you stepped away from some of these habits for a while. You're being invited back into them to observe yourself in this experience now with all the wisdom, with the experiences. It might require you a food plan, eating plan. Your intuition's already guiding you. It's asking you to step in and to listen and to trust and to tune in so you can broadcast out more of you. So you're going to be looking at that arrow of activity in play. Are you a workaholic versus integrating self-care? Or is there a space between that where yes, you desire to have this huge mission that you're sending out into the world, and you have your business and you have all the busy things. And I get caught in this too, right? The busy work versus where you can be delegating, where you can be asking for help, where you can be moving some of those decisions and activities aside so you can make space for the self-care, also the quieting down, the listening, and the mental chatter, just being a little more still and letting it move into more of that intuitive wisdom. So what's consuming you? And now is that time to create the change that matters to you most. So is it around your eating? Is it around your exercise? Is it how you're communicating and maybe not feeling completely heard, felt, seen, and understood? And what are new ways that you can land into that? And also the boundaries that might be needed now that weren't even months prior. Maybe there's a work period in your day from 9 to 2 where you must have that devoted focus and not be disturbed, interrupted, right? These kind of subtleties that are asking for your attention. Um, I think of like in magnetic right now, we're 5 weeks in and we're really landing into our self-care piece. We're really landing into what do we say that we want and what are we pretending to be doing so we keep the story going versus the story that's going to allow us into the next actions that really begin to shift our experience. Really landing into the focus and the alignment that bring us into momentum, not counting on momentum to create all things for us because momentum is fleeting, right? We can bring ourselves back into that focus, bring ourselves back into alignment by being very truthful with what we want and also knowing where we are and where we want to be and having the love and the acceptance for where we are now. Because if we're just back in the past, attached to what was or what we looked like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, we are not being present here and we're not devoting that love and that nurturing and that attention into this body right now, right? All of those experiences brought us here, but now we're being invited to connect, to use new resources, to trust our intuition, and to build that belief in ourselves that we know what's best for us. And in doing those observations, we're not falling prey to our own stories that are sabotaging or misdirecting or misperceiving, right? There are things that you know that you haven't been doing. This is the month to start putting those into practice. One or two at a time. Don't go all in with 12 things and then expect yourself to be proficient at it. It's inviting you to be with this energy that's going to allow things that change, that ease to be more enjoyable and to attend to the details that are most important to you right now. So what I love about this space in magnetic, we have 12 weeks journeying together as we've been unraveling our triggers, these spaces, these truths. Now we're building them back into what we want to create. Now we're really taking a, a bird's eye view and a microscopic view at the truth of our beingness. How can we be more of what we're wanting in others? And how can we be more of the expression of the health, the vitality, the wealth, and the well being that we're wanting to experience? We'll notice where the outside world we think has played a role, but we'll also maybe notice where we're not at the whim of those things. There's always a tango, in the inner world, the outer world, but the change comes from our inner world and no one's going to do it for us. So I feel like that's a very big message. It's up to you to become the change that's coming through this month. No more playing around, no more toe dipping, no more pretending that you can't see it. This is asking you to be all in. And when you do, the rest of the months that follow in the year will start to amplify the abundance that's here for you, that is you, that flows through you, not waiting for it to happen to you. It's a very big distinction. Let me know if that makes sense for those of you who are listening in. So we are really being invited into that evolving, growing as you go energy. You're going to learn by being in action, and that action is going to provide you new evidence that you would not have gotten by pre-deciding it wasn't for you. And these things you may play with for a while and then decide that isn't what you want anymore and then pivot and move again. But if you never step into the energy and step up into the claiming of what you want, then you don't get the experience of the new wisdom that follows, because there's way more to learn from having been in action and doing the thing that you wanted to be doing for so long versus listening to the stories that convince you in your mind, and they're sexy, that you don't need to do it and it's not for you, right? So the 25th through the 29th, we're really taking a look at all of these truths and letting go of these behaviors and these patterns, and inviting ourselves to celebrate new habits and to really create this foundation moving forward for that 64-day embodiment, right? And so this higher self, the whispers, the nudges, the opportunities, the resources, the people being put in our path for us to have that forward expansion and really land into our self-worth in a whole new way. So we've gone from self-growth into establishing self-worth in the physical and realizing it's not a thing we do, but it's who we be. And then we take it into the next theme, which is self-belief. So then we land into the belief. There's this energy, maybe you've been feeling it, this contracting, right? Like we leap into the expansion and then we contract back. We leap and then we shrink. We leap and then we think we need some recluse. We leap and then we're not sure we can handle all the momentum that's coming. That energy is going to be one that where we feel the self-doubt vibrating, where we feel that one day we can be like, man, the mind is so relentless and I feel like I'm there again and I thought I worked through this. But those are the moments of the transmutation, and to be aware that when we're in that, it's not the rainbows and the sunshine and the that is when we're in awareness, that beautiful bliss. But the transmutation is, are we gonna keep ourselves being with it so we can land into the shift? And we don't decide how long that takes. The body knows. But you could be feeling that deep self-doubt in areas you hadn't felt in a while. And you're like, I just had the most greatest day the day before. I landed a client. I made more money. And then the next day you're like, oh, the self-doubt and the rabbit hole that we go down. Followed by, when we can be with it, the next amazing opportunity that lands, right? Like we really, all of a sudden we get asked to collaborate on something, or something better shows up. It's literally the little steps of that transmutation process that brings us into the pause, the being with what is. What do I need when I'm feeling this way? Not to avoid it, but to welcome it in and to nurture it, and just be with that day if you need to nurture yourself that day. Not shut completely down, but just ask for what you need, make the space for what you want. Maybe it's a walk, maybe it's a sunset on a chair. You'll know. But to take the time is as simple to do as it is simply to not do. So it's up to you to make that um, allowance for what's coming next to come. Because when you feel that way, one of the things I love to come back to is, oh, I wonder where this is leading. When something completely shifted, a client canceled, a meeting moved, oh, I wonder where this is leading. Something's being reorganized for me, right? So it's that adoption of breaking free from the boxes we've placed ourselves in and really allowing them that mental energy overload, the headaches, the overthinking that we might be experiencing, especially on those mental club days where we're in our self-belief, that we're just running too much energy in our head, and that we can pull away, ground back into the body, take a few moments. I like to get into nature when I'm like that, and to really come back to the present moment before we begin again. So those last few days of the month are really going to be intense. where we've got the arrow of mental intellect at play, the 369 energy, lots of ideas, lots of growth, lots of completion. But at the same time, those things don't all need to be done now. So we're really just landing into, we've had some shifts, we've made some physical changes. The mind's going to want to rebel a little bit because it likes to automate all of its very efficiency. And we've gone in and disrupted it, and just know it's part of the process. And so we can invite the mind into the heart. We can love the mind. We can love that intense feeling and know that there's something that we can do to better serve ourselves while that's happening. And it only takes a few minutes to land into the grounded space in the body when we do take a break from the computer, go have lunch with a friend, go sit outside, take a walk, and then regroup. Right? No one else is going to do that for us. So those big, bold actions, so we begin to recognize the ebbs and flows of our own beingness and coming back to our own willingness, and then being able to move those dreams into reality is a really big intention for this month and energy that's going to be here supporting it. So we're no longer shrinking back, but we're nurturing and we're providing ourselves so we can come back, the love, so we can come back into a willingness to take new actions. Where in your business can you develop new habits? Can you streamline things in your office? Can you clear clutter? Can you create healthy habits to feel better in your body, which intentionally will always bring in more wealth, more well-being? What we feel like in here is a direct correlation to what's happening in our bank account, right? If something wants to be shift, are you absolutely in love with what you're offering? I had a realization this last 2 days that I was okay with what I was offering, but I didn't have anything I was like, oh my God, I'm so in love with, until a few days ago. And the mere thought that started coming in about VIP intensives with my clients, or to have these opportunities to include those as part of my coaching packages for that deep connection and transformational work that happens in person. And before I knew it, I had this idea creating into, this is what it would look like. I mentioned it to a couple clients, and now I just booked one on the calendar literally before this call. And the feeling that I feel in taking all of my knowledge and wisdom from all of these years of all the different studies and from my experiences of running retreats for 12 or more people, and being able to show up in these spaces and just create this nurturing container customized for each person, my heart feels like it's leaping off the page, leaping off of the camera. Like, I cannot wait to actually organize this information and send it out there. And you guys will be first to know in this group, as well as my email list. And then I'll be moving it out to public. But that kind of, I'm obsessed with this offer and this idea, and it stretches me. It stretches me more than anything I've ever done, but I'm willing to do it. And I found the support to move it through. And so that is the energy in taking those big, bold actions, where you're being your best observer, you're landing into claiming what you want, you find or accept the resources that are heading your way, and then you're all in, and you learn who you are when you show up in that energy. You're the magic. Let the energizer go, let the observer take hold, and be the magic. Does that make sense? So keep doing what you love, to love the journey and love the results, right? You don't have to have the expectation of the results. The thing that has been the hardest in my journey of entrepreneurship is detaching from the outcome. I'm a person who likes to have a plan A, B, and C in place. So if one fails, I know I got myself covered. Maybe you feel the same. Maybe it's in your personal life as well as your business. But this way of operating in 2024 especially, is being in the love of what we're creating, being in the energy of being all of us in it, speaking from a place of love, from the wisdom we've learned, from the lessons we've learned, not the pain that we're in, and really taking it to the journey, and then loving whatever unfolds, because they're all pieces of synchronicity to get us to that next place. It's like your higher self is dropping these little nuggets of wisdom and experience for you to go, oh, that's different. Okay, more. That's different. I need to step up into this dream that much bigger here. And trust that you don't have to control the outcome. But it's the journey of you stepping up and claiming what you want and asking for the price and asking and inviting people into the service. That's the journey. because then you can do it again and again and again without going, oh, she said no. You're right, it's not good. That energy can expand and amplify so big if you detach from the outcome, right? So, focused attention brings a wealth of experience in every aspect of your life, in your relationships, in your business, in your finances, in your health, in your vitality, in your figure, in like, and it doesn't matter, pick something. It's there for you. Does that make sense? So I'm here to support you in creating that plan to manifest your goals for 2024, to have that plan that's based on your unique blueprint. So in here in this space, I want to know what you're facing. I want to know what your challenges are so we can create content and keep having these conversations, these reminders for your own human self to connect with so you can land into, yeah, that's right, I'm on track. I'll just choose another empowering choice in this moment. And if you're ready for some support and guidance or an intensive to really line out what's next for you in your business and how to set those steps in action, I'm here to connect with on that as well. And so that's my mastery. That's my piece for being of service to you, for you, with you, right? What is yours? Where are you landing in with the mastery of these influences that can be leveraged to bring these immense changes forward into a world of into a world of change at a rapid pace for you? Like if you really listen in, not just gathering information, but really applying some of this into your next action steps, your next best steps, or your request for support and guidance or mentorship, then you get to initiate this third arrow of influence this month, the practicality, right? We're looking outside of ourselves for that external validation, someone to tell us that we're doing the right thing, someone to let us know that we're on the right track versus um, us knowing, trusting in self, believing in our way is the way. That even if I've been taught something different, when I can trust myself in my way, that's the way to go. And it's that embodied, full trust and belief that you know deep down what's the best, most accurate next step for you. And that you also know where you can find that support and guidance when needed. So slowing down, tuning in, nurturing your physical needs. These things are crucial for the emotional well being and fulfillment that you're literally seeking for. Sometimes it's not always the money, it's not always this busyness we're seeking in our business. It's the connection, the belonging, the fulfillment. The other aspects of wealth that aren't monetary. And when we learn to receive more of that for ourselves, it opens up the portal for more prosperity to land into our being as well. It's not the only focus. If you're focused on getting the money, you're missing all the other opportunity of who you become while you're learning to step into that experience. Getting is need versus I'm of service. Here are my offers. Here's my heart. Here's who I am. Here's my unique perspective. Here are my unique learnings. Does this resonate with you? And are you ready to take that journey together? That is a different place, right? That's expansive. So if you've been feeling that desire to feel at peace this month and it caused you to compromise what you wanted, or maybe what you wanted or needed just to feel that peace or harmony in the moment, you're being guided and asked to expand that even further too. So if you've isolated or retreated because you feel more connected to your inner space than connecting with others, this month is inviting you into connection. It is inviting you into partnership. It is inviting you into your own partnership with your intuition, and it is providing you the resources, the people, the stories, the books, the music, the alignment to show you what you've been asking for. So if you're highly sensitive, you can oftentimes be feeling everyone else's energy. It's very important to discern your energy. Give everyone else's energy back to source, bring your energy back to you, and utilize that discernment so you know your own stability. And then you can navigate any of those environments as you're operating and leveraging the wisdom of what is for you this month to experience, right? Where if you're feeling at the whim of the world, you know that you're off track. And it can remind you, you can be so grateful and thankful to bring yourself right back into your own body, right back into your own energy. And instead of feeling at the whim of external circumstances, where can I take responsibility and make my one next choice, my one next empowering step to move me in the direction that I want, and not be at the whim of what everyone else wants for me or what everyone else might be deciding for me in those shoulds, need tos, and have tos. And honor that deep intuitive part of you, and know that you're supported by God, source, or universe, however you identify with that. So it's a very potent, very expansive, very much full of love month. And anywhere you're operating out of fear is not gonna align. And so always coming back to, what would love say? How can I love this more for even showing up right now? How can I love my mind for the overthinking and the worry, and have it remind me that I just need to be in creation towards what I want and what I love? It's a beautiful key code that's stopping me, that's holding me back from what I can actually be doing instead. So, what else is possible? I'm going to continue that phrase to ask yourself whenever you feel a little lost or at the whim of the world, what else is possible in this moment? I lost my job. What else is possible right now? That friendship is on pause for a while. What else is possible right now? You're being invited to discover even more than how we've been seeing the world. So let me know how this lands for you. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for your commentates, my words, your comments. And Sharon, I'm glad it resonates. Um, yeah, we get to be in the exploring, right? We get to be in the doing, not the forever to-do list doing that burns us out, but the taking action in the spaces that we've been meaning to and haven't fully committed yet. Those are where the nuggets are going to be. And to be observing yourself in every step of the way, because you are the only one who can shift your experience anyway, right? You are so welcome. Thank you, Rosalie. All right, you guys, have a beautiful rest of your Saturday. I think we're going to go try to finish that sauna today if you've been following my story. My husband and I built a sauna in the backyard out of one of those little barns, and he just went to pick up the glass, and the window is the last space that goes next to the glass door. And then we just clean up the inside and oil it down and grout the floor and turn on the power. So we're getting really close, and I'm excited. Thank you. What else is possible? Yes. All right. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend. Bye for now.